I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2020 Washington Open. You guys are here with me, Coach John Lucas, and I'm joined by Carl Meter.
How's it going, everybody?
And so we're here, we're going to walk you guys through this meet. We're excited that you guys are here watching it, and we hope that you enjoy this competition. Carl, what's something that you're looking forward to seeing with the teams this year?
Well, for Washington specifically, I know they got a lot of strong incoming freshmen, and this is really the largest I've ever seen the team, the strongest I think I've ever seen them, judging just from the inner squad that I watched a couple of weeks ago. So I'm excited just for them, seeing how they start the season off. This is always a really exciting time for all the teams. The season openers, is kind of a good indicator of how the season's going to start off. Obviously, this is the second year actually. This has been like a genuine meet for them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, last year they hosted NorCal and Arizona State,
That's
and then
right.
this year adding Southern California,
That's right.
making it pretty much like a Western Championships for
Yeah.
a gym act.
Which is awesome. I mean, I cannot get enough of these club team competitions. I love. I wish there were more of these back when I was competing. They started these, I think, 2 years too late, 3 years too late.
Yeah, but at least it got started.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching Arizona State and seeing how they can um, do coming off the win at Nationals last year.
Absolutely, and they've been on a hot streak for quite some time now. They've been consistently showing very, very strongly.
Yeah, and they haven't brought all of their team. I know Kewan Watts. I didn't get the story on why he's not here.
Okay.
But he's their strongest all-arounder, and he's not attending. Um, NorCal United brought 5 gymnasts, so they won't have a full team at this meet. And then SoCal actually traveled what looks like a pretty strong team. A lot of freshmen, but some pretty talented and good freshmen. I'm excited to see Troy Mendelson in particular and see how he fares. But here we are with the introduction of the judges.
Yeah, that might be Danny Gov there, sitting in the timer's chair there. He's on the team for a short while back, I believe, my freshman year.
All right, so one of the things that I like most about college gymnastics meets is just the energy that they bring. And we're going to see the gymnast on crutches, Connor Patelin, hurt his knee yesterday, and we're going to see him on pommel horse later today. That's going to be very exciting. And just the energy that these teams bring, it's pretty cool, especially as you can see Arizona State and Washington getting ready, getting everybody hyped and pumped, ready for the event. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, these college settings really, really bring the energy.
Yeah, NorCal and SoCal are still pretty new. SoCal has a little bit more time under their belt and experience. Will Pierce, one of their gymnasts who they're probably going to look to for leadership this season. But yeah, this should be a fun and interesting meet. Getting excited. All right, so now we jump ahead to the 2-minute touch. Teams are finishing up. That looks like Perry Lightfoot rounding the boys up.
Yeah, I like Perry. He's a great energy guy. He's really, really good. I mean, there's a lot of the younger guys. Him, Jared Danick too. Really great at pulling the team together and getting the energy going before an event.
Yeah, we got SoCal gymnast up on high bar. Washington looks like they're ready.
I mean, we got ASU on P bars, yeah.
Yeah, ASU's on P bars. So
There we go.
SoCal's on high bar. UW is on the floor, and then NorCal is on vault. So it looks like Oscar Hemmer is going to get things started on the floor. Judge is ready for him.
All right.
Pretty good double
Solid
front.
double front start. Yeah.
A couple extra hops more than he would have wanted on that pass.
Yeah. You know, that's something I always do tend to notice is at very beginning of season, landing control is a little, you know, not quite there. And that's usually something that gets refined over season.
Yeah. But you gotta stick your double full side.
Yep.
Now he'll do his non-tumbling.
Little wobbly on that.
Yeah, so he'll lose a little bit, but because it fulfills an element group, he'll still be positive to the score.
All right, actually.
Pretty good dismount.
Yeah.
Not bad for their opening routine. Usually, you know, when you pick an opener, you want to have someone who's consistent, can get a hit, and get momentum started for the team.
That's exactly right.
12.85, not a bad score. All right, this is Vinny Colosomo from Arizona State.
Nice solid peach maneuver there.
Yeah, so far the whole routine looks pretty clean, pretty simple, and
Very sturdy, very
clean.
steady.
Yeah.
It is.
And a back
All
full.
right.
So that'll get a C partial element group, but that's not too bad. 12.55. That's a good score to start.
No, it was a
things off
good
on
good
fumble.
routine. You know, not very long, but very clean. Didn't give anything away really on that. Did a great job avoiding all the handstand checks. You know, I always see a lot of people throw these massive routines, but they're shaking all over the place up there. And
Yeah, that was a pretty solid start. Now we got Zach Garcia from Southern California United up on the high bar. Oh, lands on top of the bar. Hey, at least he stayed on.
he did stay on the bar. Looks like he just, you know, took the throw a little short there. Didn't quite follow through. All right. Full turn to mix there. It looks like he's winding up for his dismount. Double A.
3/10 step on the landing, but not too bad. 12.55.
12.55 actually.
It's pretty good
with
for
that
landing
big
on top of the bar.
Yeah, actually not bad at all.
Now we've got Brian Berryhill from NorCal United on the vault. Brian's a sophomore on the team. Oh man, what a rough start for NorCal.
And that's something you don't see too often. Actually, I've seen a couple of those from our team. Thankfully, never had the honor of doing it myself, but we've had that at Rocky Mountain Open. I think we had one year, and that definitely caught us off guard.
So
You never
this
really
was
explain this.
Perry's broken hand last year.
That's right. So this is footage from last year, correct?
Yeah. So that happened just before Washington Open, a couple weeks, and it looked like some fractures to the hand. And he ended up competing, right?
He did. That's right. I remember
So
now.
we're going to
Yeah,
show
yeah.
you guys that routine. This was last year at the Washington Open. He's got that left hand in the cast.
This is actually pretty spectacular to watch.
So his front tumbling wasn't affected. Base-bounding
Nice.
pass. Got to tuck those hands under for the forward
Yep.
roll. This was so impressive to be just a couple days out of breaking his hand. Still with a cast on. Really, really cool. There's the
There
one
it
round
is.
off. Got to get that back tumbling element group. Yeah, it's so impressive to see just the tenacity that he has, and he showed last year in competing a routine.
Oh,
With,
absolutely.
one arm. Solid little B dismount.
And I really think that was one of the better routines that we saw at the Washington Open last year. Not really just for difficulty, but just exactly because
yeah, the
what you
cleanness
said. Yeah.
and the execution, and then the reaction of the crowd and the teammates and everything. That was, to me, one of the highlights last year in sports. So I'm excited to see him compete healthy this year. See what he can pull off on floor.
It's a very solid front double full mount. All right.
Still will need to polish up the landings, but form in the air, his amplitude, looks all pretty solid. There's a good little hop. It's not a bad landing.
Oh.
Got his own style there. Yeah, very elegant, very, very good looking line, clean gymnastics.
All right, 2.5 dismount there. Pretty large step, but you know, end of the routine, you're tired.
Yeah, and that's a pretty good start for 12.85. That's a good score. Not bad for Perry Lightfoot.
Yeah, it is good to see him healthy this year. Let's hope. Here's to hoping it stays that way.
So here's Jake Schroeder from Arizona State on the parallel bars.
Nice peach to handstand mount. Giant.
Ooh.
It's like he missed his hand
Oh,
there,
and
reaching
then-
down for the Mori support.
And then the back upright straddle cut with both legs on the bar. This routine is... That took a quick turn. But he pulled it out for a dismount. All right.
Now I'm curious if he
So, His
if
final score was a 6.85. Looks like the judges took a 4-point deduction for not having enough skills.
that's exactly what I was
So
just gonna.
he didn't get
say.
credit for the Moy, and then maybe even left something out.
That was kind of what I was suspecting.
Wow, that really put ASU in a hole. See if they can climb out of that. Now we've got Dimitri Gordillo on the high bar for Southern California United. Dimitri is a freshman. He competed at JO Nationals last year. He walked onto the Southern California United team. Nice, short, simple
All right, yep.
routine.
Keeping it short and sweet.
Good stick out of the B dismount. Not bad. It's going to get an 11.85 for Dimitri with pretty good execution marks. Now we've got Will Ryan on vault from NorCal. Will scratching floor today because of an ankle injury, and then watered down vault so that we could get a little higher team score, but kind of just struggling with some ankle injuries.
That's
Trying
a
to
shame.
stay healthy for the rest of the season, so not bad little Souk layout. 12.65 for Will Ryan.
All right, and it looks like we have Ben Bloom, senior from Washington, on floor.
Ben's gymnastics has always impressed me. He has some pretty massive difficulty. in
Yes, he
his
does. That's got some serious height.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he was, while I was on the team, one of our strongest recruits overall. He's really something. His tumbling, I've always loved. His high bar is what I'm really looking forward to most today.
Yeah. High bar, he can go big.
Back 1.5 punch Branny. Good landing.
Two and a half steps out of bounds, but not too bad.
All right, so they can take a 1/10 neutral
Yeah.
deduction for the out of bounds, yeah?
Yep, and then
All right.
he ended up with a 12.85 on the floor for Ben Bloom.
So that's pretty consistent with the scoring there, huh? 12.85,
Yeah.
12.85, 12.85.
Now we look to Andrew Atkinson getting set to go on the parallel bars. Need a big number from him if they're going to be a contender in the team event at this meet. His teammate left him with a pretty big hole. So hopefully he'll have a big score, and then they will be able to not count the previous 6.85.
Ah, that's a bummer.
So how difficult is that skill?
When you're first starting out, it's a tricky one. You're starting, obviously because you got that first rail in the way. It's a really difficult one to get on top just because you're starting so low. It takes just so much to get you, under the bar and get rising in the right direction. I believe I only competed that for a year, but it's something I still train on a regular basis, and it takes a long time to really get it dialed in.
Oh man,
It's just so easy to take it out short like that.
not the way he wanted to start. So it looks like he's probably going to move on without it and mount with something else now that he's missed it twice. Get some words of advice from his coach, Evan Shaw. How difficult is it to miss your opening skill twice and then finish the routine? I think it's in his head right
It's mentally very
now. You
daunting.
can see little off
'Cause,
on the handstands.
Yeah. And it's so easy on that. I've done it myself a few times. It's so easy on that once you're there to just keep going down. It takes a lot of mental resilience to really come back from that and try to finish up your performance strong.
Probably got just the dismount left. Double pike. Somehow snuck those feet down.
Chest was a little low, but as far as landing deductions, you had about a 3/10 hop there?
Probably.
That, I think, is a really difficult dismount to land clean.
So that was a 9-7 for Andrew Atkinson, and that is going to be one of their counting scores to their team because they only get to drop one, and they already had a 6.85. So that is not the way Arizona State wanted to start out on parallel bars.
So we've got
Will
Pierce.
Pierce. Yeah, he's one of the gymnasts at Southern California that did not have an amazing junior career. And since he's been on the SoCal team, he has really, really worked hard and improved his gymnastics.
Yeah, no, I've gotten to train with him actually a little bit, here and there, at Woodward a couple of times actually. Great guy, and actually as a gymnast, he looks like he's progressed quite a bit. I love his high
really
bar
has.
work, really elaborate,
Yeah.
It's like the difficulty is not enormous, but it looks so good.
So Will got a 12-7 for that high bar routine. Pretty good score for him. Now we're looking to Brandon Garcia of NorCal. Does a layout cause, runs out of bounds. He'll lose 3/10 for the out of bounds. Final score 12.25 for Brandon on his collegiate debut.
All right, and up here on floor for the University of Washington, we got Alex May. Alex is a junior, I believe, this year.
2.5 to tuck half, so he won't get connection bonus out of that.
Yeah, he did a good job keeping his feet still. He's going to get a little
Yeah.
bit of deduction for the low chest, though, on that. Good double front. Here goes his non-acrobatic. Well, that is rock solid.
The judges can be very critical of the wide arm, but that was done fairly well.
Yeah, he did not give away much on that. I think overall he's doing a really good job of not giving away anything on landings.
Yeah,
You know, he's
yeah, after the first two passes, he's done really solid. I think the double front just squatted a little low, then maybe took maybe a 3/10 on that. But
wow.
haha.
That was a solid routine. That was a good.
Yeah, not bad. That excitement at the end. 13-3 for Alex May.
That was their strongest performance so far, I think.
Yeah. Now we've got Caleb Rodriguez. See if he can pull Arizona State out of the hole they're in on P-bars.
Alex May put up a 13-3 there on floor.
So far, he's looking very steady. No second guessing himself on handstands and
Yeah,
positions.
start off with a very solid long hang work there.
He's got a really good straight line on P-bars. Oof.
That looks like he took a little
And there it is.
Little too far over.
Wow. Arizona State is
having a rough first event.
looks like they're falling apart. Yeah, the Stutz and the Dion. They can be very beautiful, very simple, clean skills, but when you rush a little bit, you run into trouble with them. Good
That's
dismount,
absolutely
nice
right.
and clean.
So Caleb looks like scored a 12-8 on that routine. That's actually, given that pretty large error in there, that's not a bad score at all.
Yeah, that is dodging a bullet right there. So now we're on to Dante Gallardo on the high bar. Looks like our camera's a little out of focus, so we apologize for that.
Good Tkachev. Now, it looked like he actually began his routine. Did he get that scripted correctly? Looks like he went from the stem right into a front giant. Are you still allowed to do that? I was under the impression that you had to...
From a stem to a front giant, yes.
or from a stem to a back giant, excuse me.
Stem to back giant, not allowed.
So I believe he's going to take a little bit of a... Oh, or maybe not.
Well, his score, 10.0, so that'll be the lowest score so far for SoCal United on high bar. Hopefully the one that they throw away. Neil Mora Ramirez with a very good cause for NorCal United. 9-1 execution. Did step over the line, so get a 10th out of bounds. Score of a 13.0. Now we've got Alex Forkas of UW on floor, getting set to go. Floor so far has been a pretty strong event for UW. I've really been impressed with, even for early on, their landing control seems pretty good. Their execution and their presentation really looks like they're pushing toward world class.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I think floor has always been one of the team's stronger events. I mean, we've got even the guys that don't get to compete have got some really, really strong skills. It's just usually it comes down to all execution. So it's not really the guys with the biggest difficulty, the guys with the best execution, even though the difficulty usually does run pretty high.
Yeah, very clean, really good line the whole way through. And those kind of things are going to help scores.
Absolutely.
Pirouette work. All right, layout front full. A little unconventional dismount, but getting the job done. Alex Forkas, 12.55, 9.0, and 9.3 from the judges in execution. A little low on the start value, but man, that's a good execution score.
And I think that's a really smart way to start the season. Get the execution and kind of build as you go.
We've got Anthony Mills on parallel bars. Anthony has a fairly difficult routine. See if he can get a little momentum back for Arizona.
So far, so good.
Just a little off on the angles, didn't quite open his shoulders in the handstand position.
Have a small balance
But
check there as well.
These are small errors compared to the errors that his teammates had.
Now, that was a sky-high dismount, though.
Big step on the landing, but he survived. Probably the top score for Arizona State right now. 12-8 on P-bars. Not too bad. Now we're on to Troy Mendelson of Southern California United on the high bar. Again, we apologize for the video being out of focus, but that was a Yamawaki with a half twist.
That's not something you see very often. That
No.
was an impressive way to start the routine off.
Especially for a freshman in college.
Wow. So 2 releases there at the start.
Yeah, nice to catch it.
Nice to catch it too, yeah.
Full spin. Looks like he's getting his hands down fairly early to avoid angle deductions. Winds up for the dismount.
Wow.
Oh!
That's a shame.
Not ready for that triple.
I will admit, I was not expecting that.
That's some big time gymnastics right there, but not quite ready.
You know, I've got to say, I think I see more triple backs from the club teams than I ever did from the NCAAs.
Yeah, I think Arizona State has one we'll see later on. Here's Daniel Gordon, UW on the floor, trying to round out what's been a solid rotation for them so far.
Now this is the execution guy from the UW team, I think, more so than anybody else. He's just got a flawless line. He is so dang clean. Again, his start values are never, his difficulty is never super high, but he just doesn't give anything away. He can usually put up a very competitive score. Just every movement he does is so concise, it's almost robotic.
Very good. Nice stick, nice chest up. Really, really clean. And there's the front full dismount again with a stuck landing.
So it looks like Daniel put up a 12.95 score. That's right up there, actually their third highest, I believe.
Yeah, that's a very good floor score.
Awesome.
And he did it mostly with execution, a 9.2 and a 9.3 from the judges. And that sends us over to P-bars to see if Esteban Montiel can get a second good hit for them. See if Anthony was able to bring back some momentum for the team. Oh man. Way off on that Dion. Crashes like that do not feel fun. So he's got 30 seconds to get back up on the bars and finish his routine.
Looks like he definitely wrung himself a little bit there, shaking his arm out. Yeah, P-bars is a hard event to crash on. It's not terribly difficult to mess yourself up pretty good on that.
Yeah, if you don't hit the bars, you can hit the uprights.
All right.
And everything lands on the floor eventually.
There it is.
Little shaky. Oh.
Yeah, definitely fell shy of that handstand there.
Yeah, that'll be at least a large error, if possibly even no credit for the element. But the peach and the press just looks a little shaken from that fall.
And here's a dismount.
Right down to his face.
Yeah, I gotta say,
the way they wanted to start things off.
That's a shame.
So 10.55 for Esteban. We've got one more gymnast on the high bar, Nick Garcia of SoCal United. Clean vault catch. I like that. Does a front giant out of the kip cast before the pirouette so he can hit better angles.
Smart.
So Higgins to change directions. Little, the angle on the Indo pirouette was pretty bad.
Little past handstand, yeah. And actually a little over-rotated on the dismount.
Yeah. Not a bad finish. 11-6 for SoCal United on high bar. That's their high bar team last year did not post scores that high. This is probably their first time. Looks like no 10s in the team score, all above a 10-0.
And I think that all of them, they're doing it, but they're keeping the routines, short and sweet, very short, concise. They hit the requirements. They get as much difficulty as they need, and they're off the bar. And that's honestly a smart way to start the season like that.
Yeah, so overall, first rotation is in the books. All right, we will be right back with rotation number 2. Back after that first rotation, our team standings are in. University of Washington with a 64.6. Southern California United, second place with a 58.3. Arizona State's in third with a 57.05. And Northern California United's in fourth with a 38.9. That was nothing like what I expected.
It was certainly interesting. Washington, I think, had a pretty good start. Like I said, naturally their floor is a little on the stronger side. So I think that having them on floor first was kind of advantageous for them right now. These events coming up, especially Pommel Horse, they're going to have to work a little bit harder to be putting up higher scores. Pommel's definitely one of their nemesis as far as scores go. ASU actually surprised me. I think that's kind of a classic case of trying to do too much too soon. I think they just tried to put too much difficulty in too early, and really it just opened them up to all sorts of errors.
Yeah, I was not expecting them to kind of self-destruct on P-bars the way they did. High bar, I know, can be a strong event
High
for
bar
them.
for them, floor and vault.
Floor and vault are their strongest.
They're absolutely their strongest, and so they have a lot of potential to make up ground there.
Yeah, so hopefully they will get it back on track on high bar. But as of right now, UW has separated themselves from the pack, but they are headed to Pommel Horse, and SoCal United is headed to floor. So that'll be very interesting to see how it ends up after this rotation. All right, with that, so here we are. Pommel Horse, Jared Danick, the leadoff man for UW. Jared is a sophomore on the team. He competed a couple events for them at Nationals last year as a freshman. Comes from Northern California, actually from the gym you're from.
That's correct. We were teammates for a lot of years. We were almost teammates in Washington. That timeline didn't quite add up, which is a shame. But
good scissor work to start.
Yeah, he's starting off very strong. I think that Pommels is one of Jared's stronger events generally. Okay, a little sloppy there. But I think he's got potential to put up a pretty strong score.
Yeah, he starts in the mid-4s.
Yeah. Looks like he got a little cut up in the middle of the horse there between the pommels.
So he's got 30 seconds to get back up.
All right, and here he goes again. Now he's got the difficulty to still put up a good score even with that error there. Here goes his Savato backwards travel. Care to the...
A little off on the dismount.
It's like he did not really have much support going on that that left arm there. Did not get him across the horse.
So it looks like he ended up with a 9-9 final score, so hopefully they will drop that. As of right now, 6 men compete, 5 scores count. And then we have Dimitri Gordillo on floor exercise for Southern California United.
Okay, pretty big balance check there on his non-acrobatic. Good solid stick there.
Yes.
Ooh boy. Okay. A little goofy there on the side transition. That actually not as uncommon as you would think.
Alright, should be getting prepared for his dismount.
Alright, back double full. It looks like he took a couple little shuffles there, a couple of small steps.
He seems pretty excited about it though. A 12-1 final score for Dimitri. not a bad way to get things
No,
started.
definitely a lot of room for improvement there. Get a bunch of little bobbles out. That could actually be a very good scoring routine for them.
And here we are back onto high bar. Jake Schroeder. How are the guys feeling right now after coming away from P-Bars? What do you think?
I'm sure they're feeling the pressure right now. And they've put themselves in a pretty big hole, I think, going into this. Now they do have, like I said, the chance to make up ground. High bar is usually one of the events where they kind of made up ground on the other teams. They are very strong swingers.
Here comes the
speaking.
Kovacs. Oh,
Looks like went a little low on that.
So Jake Schroeder starts off with a fall. It looks like he's okay. His head hit the 8-incher, so he'll get up and finish. Get some words from head coach Scott Barclay on how to finish the routine. And he'll get back up and try to minimize the bleeding at this point.
It's going to be a big challenge for them, I think, today to kind of do damage control here. I think that with a lot of the pressure that comes along with coming out of a rotation like their first one, it makes you more susceptible to even more errors if you're not really, really careful with it.
Yeah. So there goes the finish. Good little in-bar. Another release move. And missed. So far we've seen him attempt 2 release moves, fall on both of them, which is going to hurt his start value as well as his final score with 2 points off for falling already. Oh man. Now the good news is this is their first gymnast up. It puts a lot of extra pressure on the next 5, just like UW has on Pommel Horse. Starting with a fall means the next 5 scores hopefully don't have a fall, because they all should count in that case. But yeah, he has taken away the cushion on high bar of from the next 5 guys.
Okay, so he put that one on the bar, so now he at least has the element group for that.
Yeah, and the 5/10 changed the direction out of the kip cast, so his execution is going to be a little low.
Yeah, I have a feeling these first couple rotations are going to be pretty tight for ASU, just trying to get back into a comfortable place. They're not really giving themselves a lot of elbow room right now.
Looks like a 10-2 on high bar for Jake Schroeder, so they'll hopefully drop that score from their team and not have to count that as long as everybody scores higher. Now Brian Berryhill from NorCal United on the parallel bars, trying to come back after that vault mishap. He's doing a very basic routine and just a little shaky, probably a little flustered from event number 1. Comes off on the pirouette.
All right. Now, I believe all those extra swings there are deductions, yes?
Yep. And then
nice basic front off dismount.
A dismount. So it looks like the judges did not count 7 parts, so he had a 4-point neutral deduction. He's going to end up with a 4.85 final score for Brian Berryhill of NorCal United.
All right, and now next on Pommel Horse we have Oscar Hemmert from UW.
So the pressure's on here to maintain their lead. Oscar is following a fall by Jared Danick, so hopefully he'll have a good strong hit and get the team back on track.
Now here's another one where he has the difficulty to put up a strong score if he can have the execution.
Looks a little choppy. Yeah, man.
I could kind of see that one coming.
Pommel Horse is one of those events that once you get off, there's a few guys in the world that can get back on, but most of us humans fall.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So that was his second fall, I believe. So he's going to take a moment to compose himself before continuing.
Which is probably what he should have done that first time.
I agree.
Just hop down, reset, breathe, and then get up and finish strongly. But hopefully he'll have a good finish. And a nice,
all right,
nice,
much smoother on the dismount.
Yeah, nice dismount. Final score 9.8, so that means the team is counting Jared Danick's 9.9. That definitely increases the pressure on the rest of the gymnasts on pommel horse for UW.
Absolutely.
And now Will Pierce of Southern California.
I'm excited to see what he's going to look like today. Nice high double back to start.
Almost stalled it out. Didn't know if he was going to get a rotation speed, but super high. Yeah, his like we were talking about when he did high bar, his high bar has come such a long way from his freshman
I think a
season.
lot of his events have.
Yeah, he really is becoming much stronger competitor here since he's joined SoCal United. And he's just an all-around good guy to have on your team, you know. Always looking out for everybody else.
I would agree.
Really fun, I think, to train with. A little short maybe on that V hold. The judges could take 3/10 off if you don't hold it a full 2 seconds. But these are things that are early on, little mistakes that'll get ironed out as season goes on. Like the double full. Gotta stick your double full side pass.
All right, winding up for his dismount here. Back 2.5.
Pretty big step on the landing,
I
but
don't think he put his hand down.
I don't think he did either, so he should get away without a fall. Looks like the judges say 8-0 and 8-3 for the execution. 12-5-5 final score. Not the best, but that's surviving in a good way for SoCal still. Back to high bar. This is Andrew Atkinson swinging high bar for Arizona State, trying to pull them out of their hole.
There's a nice Kachev Ginger connection. I wasn't expecting that. Was awesome.
And then even on the kip cast, he maintained pretty good execution. Weiler. I like that skill.
He's doing a good job trying to mark his handstands through.
Winds up.
All right.
That was a solid hit.
Absolutely.
One of the first for Arizona State.
Hopefully
12-6-5 final score. Here's Neil Mora Ramirez of NorCal United, a freshman. His junior club, San Mateo Gymnastics. He's got a really good line on P-bars. A little short on the stutz. But as we saw from the Arizona State team, those can definitely be difficult skills to manage.
Absolutely. He is doing a really good job. I mean, he's very steady up there. And wow.
Double pike. There it is. Not bad for Neil Moore Ramirez in his
12
second event for NorCal United. Yeah, and like you said, a 12-3-5. That's a pretty good score. Perry Lightfoot on the pommel horse.
All right, let's see if he can turn this around a little bit for Washington.
Yeah, they started off with 2 misses, so they're looking for their first hit pommel horse routine.
Starting off with some really nice clean scissor work there. Half Savado down to the end.
He's pretty open on his circles. It's little choppy as he went over for the Magyar, but then smoothed it out into the Savado.
All right.
And up to the handstand.
There he goes. All right, so he's not going to get full element group on the dismount yet.
Right, so he got a C dismount, but he's excited. He did just shift the momentum for his team.
Absolutely, that was definitely a hit that they needed very badly.
Yeah, so bringing a hit in. 12-1 for Perry Lightfoot. Now we have Nick Garcia of Southern California United. Full in. That's pretty big difficulty. And so they're allowed to have mats on the floor for any landing in college up until after Winter Cup. So Winter Cup will happen in February, and then after that weekend, all of the college gymnasts have to pull the mats off the floor and compete without them. But for now, they can land any skill, unlike a junior gymnast, where that landing would have been a 5/10 deduction. And then the out of bounds, 3 off. But
Looks like his run got a little funny there. I wonder if the map kind of messed with him a little bit.
Yeah, that's the kind of the give and take of having him out
Yep.
on the floor is it softens the landings, but then sometimes running over it can be a little awkward. But it's nice that they allow that at the beginning of the season just so that the
Definitely.
athletes can feel more comfortable. Gotta get a little more vertical on that V. Nice layout. Should be looking at his dismount next. Double full, big step on the landing.
All right.
So it looks like the judges had 8/10 in neutral deductions for Nick Garcia. So probably overtime as well as the out of bounds. 5/10 probably on the overtime, and then 11-1 final score. Now we're on to Esteban Montiel, who had a pretty rough P-bar routine in the first rotation. But Arizona is trying to climb out of that hole.
Looks like he's setting up for some in-bar here.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Talk half, not too bad.
Hit a nice handstand and to one arm. All right. So he's starting off really strong here.
Layout to Kachev, little bent arms on the
Little
catch
bent arms.
and the giant
Turned
out.
over really nice though.
And then the straddle much nicer. Yeah. Double.
Laid out double. Had to tuck it around a little bit at the end, but nonetheless, that was a very strong routine, and that was a much needed hit
So
for
a
ASU.
little bit lower than the 9.0s in the execution, but a 13.0 final score because he's got pretty solid difficulty. So that is a good routine and a score they much needed. Now we're on to Brandon Garcia of NorCal United on his second event. P-Bars is an event where Brandon can be very clean. So hopefully he will hit a good, clean routine.
Nice, solid handstand.
And the stutz.
All right, a little short on that one.
And there's the double pike. Short and sweet, but pretty solid routine. And the judges thought so too, with an 8.85 in execution. So he'll get a 12.45 final score. All right, now we're on to Connor Patelin. Connor Patelin got hurt in the training day, the podium training yesterday. And we're not sure exactly what's wrong with his knee, but he was in the opening ceremonies on crutches and was on crutches during warm-up. But he is set to compete on pommel horse.
Looks like we're just waiting on the judges here. Here we go. It's a nice swinging work to start off.
Yeah, good,
Wow.
good woo right into the triple Russian. Tongue fei coming
he's just
back.
not stopping.
Or Roth, rather. There's the tongue fei. And dismount. So not a full difficulty dismount, but for a man with one leg,
That's a shame.
that was a good routine.
Yeah. And he once he started picking those Russians up, he just did not stop, did he?
So 12-1 final score, and that is another good score on the pommel horse for UW. Now we're on to SoCal United on the floor. This is Jake Mitchell, who I believe is a freshman for them.
He kicked out just a little early on that.
Yeah, the blind landing of the Arabian double front, you've got to respect it. It's definitely difficult to do.
Back 2.5.
2.5.
I will say he has got a lot of power.
Yeah, it looks like the form in the air, like on that 2.5, could have been a little cleaner. And then landings are just a little hoppy right now. But that hopefully will smooth out as time goes on through the season.
Split press.
There you go.
Okay. He's definitely got to watch his landings a little more.
Comes the dismount. Double full, and again, just a little bobbles, a lot of bobbles on the landings.
Yeah, I think a majority of his deductions there are going to come from just landings.
So 11-4 final score, respectable, but definitely could score a lot higher. He's got a 13-9 possible score, quite a bit off. That mostly coming from the landings. So now we're on to Christian Jennings of Arizona State on high bar. And high bar has been, so far, it's been quite a turnaround, minus the very first routine. They've been a lot more solid now.
Okay, little rough on that giant out of the Yamawaki there. Here goes his dismount. Triple back. Oh.
And that's
darn
how
near
you
stuck
land
triple
a triple
back.
back.
All right.
That was a pretty good routine, and by far the highest difficulty dismount we're going to see. We saw the SoCal United gymnast attempt it, and we saw how difficult it really can be. 12-1 for that high bar routine. Now, Will Ryan on P-bars. Will, who has been battling ankle injuries, has also had a little shoulder issue, so his P-bars is very watered down from what he competed last season. But he's hanging in there, doing what he can to help his team out.
And he certainly got the execution going for him. That was
9.55 execution.
Judges did not get much on that.
12.45 final score. Not bad on parallel bars for Will Ryan in NorCal United.
Now it looks like up next for Washington, we've got Lucas Asari, freshman. Now, if I recall, this is one of their kind of designated pommels guys. This is somebody who can put up a very impressive score. Let's see what he can do.
So one scissoring element, then breaks out into circles.
You can see already he's got a nice extended circle. He's got a really, really good swing started off.
Roth comes back with tongue
Very
fade.
nice.
Right into a triple Russian. Little rough coming out of it. And a tongue fei. And a triple Russian dismount.
All right. That's a routine that's
So he's got a
very
5.4 start. That
wow,
is a
that's
very high
something.
start for pommel horse. I know that, yeah, some of the best in the NCAA would be maybe at a 6.0. So 5.4 is right up there with some of the top pommel horse guys in the country.
absolutely.
13.6 final score. Pretty good for UW.
And I suspect that's going to be one of the higher pommel scores we see all meet.
Yes, I would agree. Now we've got Troy Mendelson of SoCal United on the floor. Troy had a little struggle with his dismount on high bar, so he's looking to get things back on floor and get back on track. He'll be one of the all-arounders for SoCal today. And like I said, he's one of the gymnasts that I'm excited to watch, just because as a junior he was very exciting, and excited to see what he can do this season for SoCal. Look at that forehead pretty much just scraping the ground. That is definitely a wide arm done as wide as it needs to be.
Double back side pass. Again, chest a little bit low, but he's overall doing a really good job keeping his feet where they need to be.
Yeah, really powerful tumbler. And sometimes
Ah.
the powerful guys don't have the best landings. But he seems to have figured that part out already. Oh.
No, I am not sure if he actually
I think he kept his butt off the ground. Maybe.
by the skin of his teeth. Double Arabian dismount. That's a hard one.
Yeah, a
That's a
lot of
difficult
double
one.
flips in that routine. We
Yeah.
got a 12-6 final score. Um, decent score for SoCal. Now we're on to Colton Palmer on high bar.
With a running start. Nice Yamawaki. One arm giant. Those are always so much fun. And the Zulaman. I like it.
Nice. That was pretty well done, too. Nice and clean so far with this routine.
Very
All
clean
right.
dismount.
And looks like
A 13-2 for Colton.
that's a very good score on high bar. And 9-3 and 9-1 from the judges in execution. Those are really difficult to get on high bar. Now, Ben Bloom on the pommel horse. One of the solid, more dependable guys from UW. He's been around for a while and should have a good pommel set. Big scissor work.
All right, very nice so far.
Not quite as high of a difficulty as some of the gymnasts we've seen from UW. Little struggle on the dismount.
Makes
Which
it all
was-
the way through though.
But yeah, so not the highest difficulty, very clean, and then probably the dismount was the biggest area where they were going to take deductions. 4-5 start value, 12-4 final score. And that was the last competitor on pommel horse, so I'll round out their team score. Now
No.
we've got Zach Garcia on the floor.
Well, it was certainly a very high double front. Looks like he could afford to probably kick out a little sooner on it. Yeah, I think his landings overall going to be, I mean, he's already given away a lot just on landings. He's got good passes, but
Yeah, you've got to. Landings on floor is
that's
often
everything.
where things are won and lost. And then there's a hand down. They'll have to take at least 5/10 for that. They could take a fall.
All right, nice solid handstand hold there. And back double full dismount. So that's a routine that I think could just do with, a lot more work, cleaning, landings, little things like that. Because I think the routine itself is
Yeah, he has
composed
good
pretty well.
difficulty.
It's just
The execution of it was a little lacking. 10-9 for his final score. And now we're on to the final gymnast of rotation number 2, Kirk Malm of Arizona State on the high bar. And they've done a pretty good job of getting back on track on high bar.
I would agree.
They had a little some rough routines, but overall they look like they're getting back on track.
Nice high and clean Yamawaki. Quast. Very clean routine so far. All right. Medium-sized hop on that dismount looks like, but overall, clean routine. Definitely a good way to round out the rotation for them.
Yeah, it looks like a 13.05 for Kirk Malm, and that gives Arizona State a 64 on high bar with the total team score, where P-bars they got a 57. So
That is a noticeable jump.
that is more where they usually are, and counting a 12-1 as their lowest score on high bar, where they counted a 9-7 on the P-bars. So much better. Looks like they're coming strong, back on track. And then UW, not a bad pommel rotation. 12s, a 13, 6. And then did have to count a 9-9 from Jared Danick because they had 2 missed routines. So other than the one low counting score, that was a pretty solid routine and pretty solid rotation for UW. All right, we'll be back with rotation number 3. Welcome back for rotation number 3 here at the Washington Open. Current team standings: in 4th place, NorCal United with 81 points. SoCal United is in 3rd with 118.05. Arizona State has 121.05 and is in 2nd. And your leader at the University of Washington with 124.7. So, high bar for Arizona State was a much different story than parallel bars.
Absolutely. I think they did a really good job kind of climbing out of the hole they dug during their first rotation. That was definitely a much needed start.
UW did pretty good on pommel.
I would say so.
They had 2 missed routines, so they counted one of their missed routines, which happened to be a 9-9. So not an ideal score to count, but overall not a bad rotation on pommel horse. And really cool to see Connor Patelin come out with a hurt knee, competing pommel horse for him, showing that these gymnasts are pretty tough. They
Definitely.
They really can take a pounding and they just get back up and keep going. All right, so it looks like we're set to go on floor. This is Vinny Colosomo of Arizona State.
All right, front double full for the mount.
Pretty big step on the landing, so that's at least a 3/10 deduction.
And about the same on the double back.
Yeah, but he does good at preparing. He kicked out early enough so that the judges don't have to deduct that. Like there, he had to pike down, so he lost 3 on the pike down and then 1/10 on the step.
A little bit of flare work.
Yeah, that'll get him
Something
an
we haven't
A
seen
in the non-tumbling category. Full to Brandy with pretty good control.
And taking a breath before the dismount. Back 2.5. Pretty clean in the air. Again, medium step on the landing. Plus, looked like chest came down a little bit low, but
yeah, overall not too bad. He's got a 12.55 final score. Not a bad start on floor for Arizona State. Although floor is one of their strengths, so I would expect the rest of the scores to be a little higher than that. Here is Dimitri Gordillo of Southern California on the pommel horse. A little piked on these circles, and then there goes some form breaks.
yeah, pommels, once you start closing that circle up, it is really hard to keep it moving.
Does a check here for a B value.
Just has to fight the dismount up quite a bit.
And there he goes with the dismount. 8.5. So the judges hit him pretty hard. They got both of them had 4 points of deduction during that routine.
And well, pretty much every single circle he's given something away. So
8.5 final score, and that'll be the score that SoCal is looking to not count. Now there'll be 5 more gymnasts to compete pommel horse for them, and they'll be looking for higher scores than that so that they do not have to count an 8.5. Oh, and it looks like he did not receive credit for his dismount, so he's going to get up and finish.
I see. I was trying to figure out what was going on there for a minute. Okay, there he goes. Yeah, so that was definitely a little bit smoother. Okay.
So now he got credit for the dismount, and that's... So the dismount, if he's doing a D dismount, which he did, is worth 9/10. But then a fall is worth a point, so I don't even know that it's worth repeating a dismount, but it is nice to at least get the credit that you were supposed to. So 8.5 for Dimitri. Now we're on to Daniel Gordon on the rings. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
We'll edit that out.
Now, this is something Daniel's been working on for a long time, working to get that Maltese, so it is really good to see it finally come into in a routine. And I've always loved his cross. He gets a perfectly straight wrists, open grip. He's a strong guy.
Yeah, not going higher than he needs to on that swing into the cross, so that he's just right in the position.
Trying to show Jared a thing or two in the back there.
Yeah. Good holds, making sure that everything is held long enough so the judges can't take that 3/10 deduction, which with how many stops you do, it adds up, and so it makes the fatigue kind of set in.
Absolutely.
We'll see if he's got enough energy for his
nice
dismount.
front giant.
Yeah. Half and half out with a small hop on the landing. That was a pretty good routine.
Very solid. His routine has evolved a lot over the past couple of years. Really, he started with a very basic, rudimentary routine, and it's really evolved into something that's quite competitive. It's really, really great to see.
So that was a 13.25 on rings for Daniel Gordon. Now we're on to Brandon Garcia on high bar. Brandon's having a pretty solid day so far. A little off on that angle.
You gotta make sure you mark the handstands on those. Right. Endo, half, both look pretty solid. He's winding for Tkachev. Oh, no, I dismount. Oh, my mistake.
So, nice, easy set for him. And with pretty decent execution, got 11.45 final score. Not bad for Brandon Garcia of NorCal. Now we're on to floor with Anthony Mills. Now, Anthony has really pretty high difficulty, although not for ASU. For ASU, he's just one of their average floor guys, difficulty-wise. His execution can be pretty high, so I'm excited to see a good routine here.
Yeah, starting off the front double full punch half. Good connection there with the 10th of bonus. Beautiful double layout.
Little off on that double full, had to pike it down. That was the first kind of major form error that we've seen. Maybe he could have that wide arm a little lower, but as he tucked his head in, it looked pretty good.
Layout punch Rudy.
Good BC combo just to get some more difficulty. Now he'll get ready for his dismount.
Triple full dismount, fitting end for a very, very strong routine for ASU.
So Anthony Mills has a 4.8 start, and the judges both agreed that it was pretty clean. So he scores a 13.8 final score, 1 point off in deductions. That's not bad for Anthony Mills in Arizona State. Michael Palumbo, Southern California, on pommel horse. Overall, just knee bends kind of throughout, and the circle is not very open, which
leaves you open to something like that.
Yeah. So he'll take 30 seconds before he jumps back up and finishes his routine.
I will say though, I like the composition at the beginning. A lot of complicated scissor work there at the beginning. If you can smooth that out a little bit.
Yeah, the routine definitely has some potential. Looks like he just needs to stretch the circle and clean the form up a little bit.
And up for the dismount. All right, now he came off on the wrong side of the horse there, so looks like he's going to go ahead and not attempt a second dismount.
Doesn't attempt a second dismount, probably didn't get credit for it. He ends up with a 7.45 final score for Michael Palumbo. which means the 8-5 from Dimitri will be a counting score on pommel horse, which is not what your team wants, but that definitely raises the pressure for the rest of the team. Now we've got Ben Bloom on rings.
So another nice solid straddle planche there. Nice front giant. Like a little shaky there, lowering down to that straddle L, but so far so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that looks like actually a slightly downgraded routine for him. I know he's got a couple crosses, and he's got the piked Yamawaki as well as in his arsenal. So I think he's kind of playing it safe right now, going for the execution, getting a safe score, and then I'm thinking that throughout the season he's going to kind of reintegrate those skills back in to boost his difficulty a little bit.
Yeah, and that was a 13-4 final score for Ben Bloom, which is pretty solid for a ring score. Now on to high bar with Neil Mora Ramirez. Neil, who had a pretty solid P-bar routine, is now looking to help the team out with a good high bar set.
He's starting out pretty strong. Looks like he tried to connect the Stalder there and did not quite get it stooped in deep enough. Came up a little bit through the bottom, just enough to get him off on the wrong side of the bar there.
So that'll be a point off for falling. He might even deduct for an extra swing. But he'll jump up and finish the routine.
And hands down on the dismount.
So that'll really hurt the score. He ends up with a 9.8 final score for Neil Mora Ramirez. Now we're on to floor with Chris Barty. So floor is one of the stronger events for Arizona State. Difficulty-wise, they have quite a bit of difficulty. That the last routine we saw with Anthony Mills, he starts out of a 4.8. Now we're looking at Chris Barty, who's attempting to get a 5.3 in difficulty, which is even a harder routine than what we saw last.
All right, half and half out. Good landing.
Yeah, good landing for that.
Did a really good job keeping that in place. Front double full. It's a valuable pass right there.
Yeah, gets a
Picks up
10th bonus.
8 10s total in one pass.
Yeah, and then 2.5 Brady. Another big bonus.
So he's got his connections pretty much filled out. Now you're only allowed 2, correct?
You get bonus for 2, yeah. So there's a good floor Maltese showing off his strength.
You don't see that often. That was a very nice one, very steady.
Yeah, I like how he kept kind of a hollow body position. Which
Yeah, you
really
see a lot of guys really drop through the core
Yeah.
there. So that one looked really good.
Pretty good Japanese handstand.
Just give me a pass through that landing a little quick.
Getting set for the dismount. Ooh, not quite enough rotation on that triple full. But they'll probably give him the credit for it and then deduct for lack of twisting, which leaves his final score at 13.65. I think that's the highest on the day on floor so far.
13-8.
13-8.
I believe that.
13.8 of Anthony Mills.
That's
right.
There we go.
So, but still, those are big scores coming out of floor.
Definitely. I think this is the part where ASU starts to make up ground on Washington.
Yeah, they definitely have the team to be able to. So now we're on pommel horse with Zach Garcia falling during his travel element. He'll have 30 seconds to remount the pommel horse and to finish. So far, pommel horse has been a struggle for SoCal, with no score over a 10 yet.
Now, if there's an event to do that to you, it'll be pommels. Looks like he's struggling again on the reverse travel.
So no credit and another fall. So that'll hurt him in both the start value and in the execution.
All right, here he goes to attempt to finish his routine. All right.
Stays on through to the dismount, but every single circle was a little off.
I think he definitely got a little fatigued there at the end. It's a shame. The beginning of his routine looked nice actually, and then I think he tired out pretty quickly though. And when you get tired and that circle starts to close up, that's where pommels bites you.
So that was a 7.0 for Zach Garcia, and now we're on to Jared Danek on the rings.
Uprise planche, very solid.
Yeah,
good hold
His
there.
strength has really improved as he's gone up to Washington.
Ooh, Giancarlo's not going to like that. I mean, it was a good cross hold, but
a little unnecessary.
And
missed an element there. That should have been a Delchev.
It looks like he definitely did not get his hips behind him enough.
And now he's picked up that massive amount of swing, which they'll deduct, and caused the fall there on the Giant.
We used up so much energy on that cross that he kind of hosed himself later on in the routine.
That's why you don't do the head shake.
You don't do the head shake. And a pretty rough dismount as well.
So we got a 9-3 final score for Jared Danek, and that will be hopefully the score that they drop. We have Harant Gasparian of NorCal United on getting set to go on high bar. Harant is a freshman. His first meet competing in college. Puts his Tkachev on the bar.
Looks like he didn't quite get turned over. He had great height, but didn't quite get his legs turned over.
Get some words of advice from Coach Fabricio Olson, who competed for BYU back when they had a program.
Yeah, he had a ginger you guys should really see. I think I darn near knocked the lights off the ceiling.
Yeah, he even competed at DEF a few times.
Oh, that's right. Maybe it's the DEF that I'm thinking of.
I
think it was
both
the DEF.
his ginger and his DEF.
It was a DEF, because
he didn't know how to go low on either
holy
of them.
smokes.
Okay.
A little shy on the turn, but
Shy on
actually
the
hit a
turn,
nice
but-
handstand.
Yeah, good on the angle. So they'll deduct him regardless. Here winds up for the dismount. Going for the stretched half and half out. Comes up a little short. So the judges deducted that one pretty heavily. They got a 9-9 final score for Harant. Now we're back to floor with Dalton Hopkins of ASU.
Okay, so it was a front 2.5 twist laid out, if you guys couldn't catch that. Small step on the landing. And then a double five. So we're starting off with some really strong difficulty here. Back 2.5 punch front layout.
I like that. A lot of guys do the brainy.
Yeah, the layout's a lot
But
harder to land.
It is, but you can keep the chest up a lot
Yeah.
easier and not get the pike down deduction that most gymnasts are getting on their brainies.
Okay, maybe not quite a full hold on the handstand there. So that was a tucked front full connected to a laid out front full, so it counts as two separate elements there because of the position while you're flipping.
Yeah, I've heard through the rumor mill that they might be getting rid of the tucked front full in the code.
Well, that would just be a shame, wouldn't it? That was a back triple fold dismount. Pretty solid routine for Dalton Hopkins. And up next for SoCal on pommel horse, we have Troy Mendelson.
So pommel horse is not Troy's strongest event, but he has a pretty open circle, probably the best circle position out of all the gymnasts from SoCal so far. Really fast circle as well.
Okay, had some trouble getting up to that get himself up to that pommel, which is a shame. He was going really well up until then.
Decent dismount. Shame that he missed that step up, and it looked like the scissors were rough.
Almost maybe he had to improvise a little bit. Routine's got potential, though. I think the first half of that routine was really good.
9.85 final score for Troy.
And I've got Alex May up for the University of Washington. Mounting back up Rice cross. Pretty good hold. Very steady so far. Hasn't given up much in execution. Okay, nice front giant, back giant. And dismount, double. Okay. Pretty good size hop backwards. I've seen him stick that cold a good number of times, so when that routine smooths out a little bit, that's going to be a really nice looking one.
Yeah, he's got a 4.2 start value. That's pretty good for rings.
Absolutely.
12.85 final score for Alex May. Now on to high bar with Will Ryan.
Okay, nice Yamawaki to mount. That's a bummer.
So much turnover.
I thought that was going to be a beautiful catch.
Yeah, he landed on his chin. Well, he already has the element group for release with the Yamawaki, so he'll probably just finish his routine without it. Coach pulls that out. High bar has been one of the events that Will has improved on a lot as in college, and hopefully he'll be able to finish cleanly. All his gymnastics, Will tends to have a pretty clean line with. Nice in bar. Ooh, stalled her to blind change. All right, simple double back with a pretty good landing. 2 steps out of it, but...
Now, you said Will was battling an ankle injury earlier. Did that affect his dismount at all?
You know, that may have. But 11.15 for Will on high bar. Not too bad. Now on to the floor with Esteban Montiel. Esteban had a rough start on P-bars, but then scored a 13 on high bar. A little rough on the opening pass.
All right, back 2.5 punch brandy connections, one that you'll see probably pretty commonly. Really nice flare work there. I will say I'm definitely a fan of his non-acrobatic sequence. It's got a lot of flair to it, no pun intended.
I think he tried air flares at this meet last year and it didn't go so well.
I was half expecting him to just pick him up. I mean, for as much power as those flares had, I would not have been surprised in the least. Alright, let's see, telltale sign of a dismount coming up here. Back triple full, pretty clean in the air, but definitely had his chest a little low there. Didn't quite turn it around enough.
So 5.2 start value, and then a 12.45 final score.
So definitely some room to clean up, but a very respectable start, very respectable difficulty.
Now we're on to Nick Garcia on pommel horse from SoCal United. Not to be confused with the Nick Garcia on Arizona State.
Who we have not seen yet. Is he?
He will compete floor.
He
for
will
them.
compete floor. Okay.
Yeah. Which I'm very excited for. He was the floor champion at Nationals.
That's right.
2
I remember
years ago.
even in JOs, he was a very strong tumbler.
That was not a terrible routine, except that it didn't have enough skills. So the execution wasn't too bad, but there was a 4-point deduction for not having enough skills, so he's going to end up with a 5.5 final score for Nick Garcia on pommel horse.
Now we have Jacob Jarrett up on rings. This is the first we've seen of Jacob this meet.
A little high on the entry for that cross.
Looks
a
like he's
little
actually
high
try-
on the hold.
He's trying to hold it in man or in a V
V.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult to perform it that way.
So he's definitely struggling a little bit on these strength holds here. Here we go. So here's his swinging elements, but I think historically he does a lot better. So that was pretty nice right there. A giant little bit of leg separation there. It's a little on the archy side, but good solid hold. And here comes his dismount.
Nice
There's the
stick.
stick. I've always been amazed at how well he can land that, considering how early he generally
Twists,
starts
yeah.
his twist. Yeah, he's
Well, yeah,
kind of
when
got that.
twist early, it's difficult to be able to watch the floor the whole time.
Yeah.
So, looks like he has a 4.6 start value and a 13.05 final score. Not bad for Jacob Jarrett, but definitely some room for improvement, especially in that first half. Now here he is, Nick Garcia, who we talked about earlier. He has a national title under his belt on this event. Missed last year due to injury. So this is his first time competing in a year. He's got that knee brace on, ankle taped, and wrists taped. So
And enough tape will fix just about anything.
Yeah.
Very impressive passes to start off here. It's a double Arabian half fat. Was that a 2.5 Rudy?
yeah,
Or 1.5?
yeah, it must have been 1.5 because that was definitely
was
the 2.5.
yep. That maneuver there is called a Fedorchenko, triple Russian on the floor.
It's a D value in the non-tumbling element group.
I think it's a C value.
C value. Yeah, that's correct.
I wish it was a D because that's what I did. Backward and half front full.
Got his teammates behind him, supporting him into his dismount.
Does not look phased in the least. Nice triple full. Chest low, unfortunately, with a pretty big step there. But
He's
looks like he still put up actually the highest score of the meet so far.
so 13.85, and probably not a routine he's super happy with. But first time back in a year competing in the collegiate circuit. Now we're on to Will Pierce, who can be very strong on pommel horse. He's got a pretty good start value.
He's got a good line with the flare
He
and the
really
scissor
does.
work. Wow.
And he's one of those that uses the flare a lot more than most other people.
I think he's trying some pretty difficult maneuvers there. That's actually the first time I've ever seen him try that. He's almost had it there on the, was that a full spindle around both pommels?
I think he did.
Or was it a half? I
There
wasn't quite sure what I saw there.
It was either a check ear or maybe a Stockley outside the pommels.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's a D value to have both hands outside the pommels and do the half turn.
He's trying some difficult stuff here.
Yeah. He's got a pretty stacked routine.
And I think of the SoCal guys that we've seen so far, he's got the best swinging line, I think.
Yeah, it's not overly fast, but
Right,
it's very,
it's got a good rhythm to
consistent
it, and
got a
his
good
his
rhythm.
flares, they float well.
Yeah. I look to see much higher scores from him the rest of the year. He's 4.6 start value, 11.1 final score.
And that brings us to our final competitor of this rotation, Connor Pattison, for the
Connor-
University of Washington.
Yeah, Connor's a sophomore on the team. He joined the team last year He and Jared Danick, both out of Northern California, moved up there, and he's been doing well with the team. Excited to see what he can do as the anchor on rings. Very clean, very good swinging elements.
Hollow back to handstand there.
Nicely locked out arms.
UW's really showing off the Giants. I think they do a really good job of doing them correctly. You see a lot of the bent arms, almost kind of backwards muscle up looking ones. These look really nice. All right. 1.5 twisting double back dismount. That'll get him full credit for the element group. Small step on the landing, but...
So 9-2 and 9-1, so average to 9-1-5, and a 13-2-5 final score for Connor Pattison, and that rounds out the rotation. So in that rotation, University of Washington on the rings counted a 65.8. That was over 5 points better than their pommel horse scores.
I am unsurprised.
And on the floor, a 67.05. So making up some ground was Arizona State, which we expected.
Yep.
They're known for floor and vault as their strengths, so not surprised there. SoCal United and pommel horse, a struggle, a 43.9 team score, counting one score that was over a 10. Definitely an event that they can improve on. We saw a lot of potential in most of their routines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it would be a little lack of extension or little lack of circle as they started to get fatigued. And I think as the season goes on that can become an event that is a lot more solid for them.
I absolutely agree.
NorCal on high bar had some trouble, but this is the first time that they've competed 4 high bar routines. The most that NorCal ever competed so far has been 3 at a meet. So they still have some gymnasts that weren't able to make this trip, and they should be able to put up a full team on high bar as the season progresses. So we will be back with rotation number 4 in just a moment. All right, we are set for rotation number 4. University of Washington has remained in the lead with 190.5. Gaining some ground, ASU with now a team score of 188.1. Southern California United with a 161.95. And NorCal United with 123.3 heading into rotation number 4. Here we have Brian Berryhill getting things going on floor exercise for NorCal United.
Say front 1.5 mount. I believe he stepped both feet out of bounds.
Yeah, looked like he did. He's had a little bit of a rough meet so far, so we're looking to see his floor score change that.
Okay, front full.
Decently clean. Simple back tuck, but could use the landings to be cleaner.
I'm gonna just back layout dismount. Yeah, he's really got to fight for those sticks a little bit more.
11.25 final score. He had 4/10 of neutral deduction. That was by far his best routine on the day. Now we get a look at Anthony Mills of ASU on pommel horse. So pommel horse is another event that ASU's got to look out for. I mean, P-bars, I don't think they expected to have as much struggle with it as they did. Hopefully pommel horse is not a similar story.
Some nice scissor work to begin with. Big scissor full traction McCulloch there, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh. And just like that.
A rather abrupt stop there.
Yeah. Sometimes that's how pommel horse is.
Let's go, Tom. Pick it up. Let's go. Finish it up, Tom. Come on.
right.
second fall.
Come on, Tone. Breathe. Focus. Come on.
So I believe now he's just going to omit that element and go ahead and move on with his routine.
Let's go, Tone. Finish her up. Come on. Focus here. Go. Take a hold. Come on. Stay on. Stay on. Up. Get up there. Go.
And the dismount goes
Ooh.
somewhere.
Yeah. So it's a 9-6 on pommel horse from Anthony Mills.
That was surprising. His swing looked really good. I'm not sure quite what went on there, but
Chalk it up to first meet jitters, I guess. But that'll put a lot of pressure on the rest of the team. Now we've got Michael Palumbo doing one of those almost kipping bent arm muscle up giants. Very different from Connor Pattison, the anchor on UW.
He's fighting to get the straddle L up there.
Probably not going to get credit for a skill, which will hurt him in both the execution and the start value department.
Okay, holding the straddle planche there.
And then that swing is going to...
That makes things. That's where the difficulty really starts on rings. If you pick up any kind of swing like that,
makes the routine harder, and the judges are taking deductions for it.
and opens up very early on that double back.
That was a 9.4 for Michael Palumbo. Not the way SC United wanted to start things off.
All right, now for Washington we have Jamil Ali, freshman. Starting off with. I'm actually kind of surprised that he's starting us off. I think that he's actually a pretty strong vaulter. Alright, so that was a cause full or a souk with a double full twist. Looks like he actually kind of tucked off the table a little bit.
Yeah,
That
he
was,
did.
Yeah, kind of caught me off guard a
But
little
judges
bit.
gave him the layout credit.
They did.
And with 13.55 final score after the 1/10 of out of bounds. Pretty good start on vault for UW. Neil Moore Ramirez competing on the floor exercise for NorCal United.
Nice
Full
connection there.
This gymnast has a really good look. Seems like he's got a lot of potential. Front
Would
2.5.
He's got a good line. He's obviously got some landing work to do, but aesthetically speaking, his skills look really nice. And of course, that's something the judges will reward. Really working his front twisting as much as he can right now. Getting as much value out of it as he can.
Simple back tumbling to make sure that he gets that element group. Little check on the press could cost him 3/10. Could even cost him the value of the skill.
Front full punch Branny.
Just another B to A to pick up 3/10 in one pass.
And a back 2.5 dismount. I will say he's got power in spades. Good twister, very strong twister.
Yeah, just got to get those landings cleaned
Absolutely.
out. It's a 12.15 for Neil on the floor.
And it looks like we were moving on to Dylan Hupmeyer for ASU on the pommel horse. Starting off with some scissor work. Swinging so good. Excuse me. Swinging pretty good so far. Doing a pretty good job keeping his circle extended. It's very important, especially when you're going across those pommels. You start piking at all, it makes it very, very easy to catch your legs on the pommels.
Tongue K, half Russian travel, up to handstand.
All right, pretty solid routine there. The dismount, it looks like hung up on the pommels a little bit, and you'll see that pretty frequently, I think. It's really difficult to make that dismount flow right up without tagging the pommel like that, but oops.
So that was 11.65 for Dylan Hupmeyer of ASU. Now Zach Garcia on the rings.
Now that he's got both hands on the rings.
Pretty good straddle planche, maybe a little short on the hold.
That's not something you see every day.
Yeah,
There's a whippet support, swing to handstand. Very, very difficult element to do. Takes a lot of strength keeping those rings under control. So kudos to him for pulling that off. He's fighting for his handstand a little bit now. Definitely didn't get a hold there, but nice stuck landing.
decent routine. Got an 8.05 in execution and 11.55 final score for Zach Garcia. Now on to Ben Bloom of UW on the vault.
That was
a tough landing, but he did the cause with a half, so 1.5 twisting souk. Squatted the landing out pretty hard.
I'm glad he walked away from that one okay. That looked a little hard on the knees.
It did. 12.5 final score for Ben on vault. Now Harant Gasparian of NorCal United on the floor. Mounts with a double back. A double flip is one of the required elements on floor. If you do not do it, there's a 3/10 reduction, which we saw applied to the last gymnast from NorCal, who had very good tumbling but no double flips. So once he gets that in his routine, he'll score a little higher. But Harant already has that in place. The out front full.
Alright, back double full dismount. Definitely have to pike it down a little bit there.
Routine looked a little short. And it looks like,
I think you're right.
yeah, the judges took a 4-point deduction for him only having 6 elements. So he ends up with a 7.9 on floor. Now on to Caleb Rodriguez of Arizona State on pommel horse. The name of the game on pommel horse is just survival. I think that's where ASU is at right now. And so far, after Anthony's routine, it's been pretty solid with the last gymnast, so hopefully it'll continue.
Yep, they were definitely in that same situation they were in on high bar, though, where they've got that one low score that they're really fighting to not count now. So, we've got a lot of pressure on these next 5 or next 4 guys now, I suppose, to really make sure they're putting up good scores. And so far, so good.
Yeah, he could be a little more extended in the circle, so he'll get some really close to doing it locked arms. Same, he has the right technique, just needs to lock those arms out a little bit more.
Did a good job holding the handstand there. Full twist and double back dismount. Saves the landing. You definitely see the head coming out pretty aggressively there, even right off the ring before the twist even starts.
12.75 final score for Dimitri.
That's a respectable score.
That's probably their best so far on rings.
And it looks like we've got Alex May up for UW. I believe doing the same vault as Ben Bloom. That's right.
Fights on that landing. Steps over that line, so he'll get an extra 10th off of the score. 13.15 final score for Alex May. Now, Brandon Garcia, the brother to Nick Garcia of Arizona State. Another powerful tumbler. Mounts with a full in. Sits down on the 2.5, so they'll take a fall for that because he put his weight on both hands.
So lay out front full. Looks like he actually had to almost pike it down a little bit somehow to make it land.
Does a V for his non-acrobatic sequence. Just simple hops on the landings, pretty well executed.
comes the dismount. Back double full. Pretty decent landing.
Yeah, that fall really cost him. Overall, without that would have been a pretty well-scoring routine. Gets an 11.5, even with the fall. And we're back to pommel horse with Colton Palmer.
Let's go, guys! Come on! Let's go, Cole! Come on, Cole! Come on, there you go, come on!
There's the Tong Fei. Very nicely executed Tong Fei.
Yeah, the rhythm in this routine so far is one of the best I've seen on the day. Even during that cut-in, you know, no pause. Everything's got a nice even pace to it. Right into the Russian work.
Ooh, okay, a little kind of lesser support there at the end, but
Overall, I think that was a very consistent
Yeah.
routine. 12-5 final score for Colton Palmer on the pommel horse. Will Pierce jumps on up to the rings. Shows off that flexibility with the slow in locate. Fights for it, but makes it up to the handstand on the front giant.
nice piked Yamawaki, tucked Yamawaki combination. Uprise to straddle L.
As the season goes on, I'm sure he'll get his arms off the straps on that press. But not too bad for beginning of the year.
And a front full, clean front full dismount.
Yeah,
good
that's
landing.
I like that dismount.
It's a good smart dismount for.
Yeah. 12-1 final score for Will, which is pretty good with a 3.2 start. So a lower start, but pretty good score. Now we've got Oscar Himmert of UW on the vault.
And here he goes. That was pretty nice. Cause full, so again another Sukta with a double full twist. He does get the foot out of bounds, so he'll get a 10th of neutral deduction there.
13-7-5 final score. That's a pretty big score for
that's the highest
UW.
highest they've put up so far.
Now back to pommel horse for Kirk Malm.
Let's go, Kurt! Come on! Kurt! Let's go! Come on, Kurt! Let's get it! Let's go! Come on, Kurt! Show us how it's done! Go, Kurt!
Nice scissor work.
Come on, baby! Come on, Kurt! Come on, Kurt! Swing it! Let's get it! Good! There we go!
D Russian flop. Magyar the long way. And Savato the short way.
This is another routine that's got a really nice look to it. Nice and extended.
There you go!
Very nice routine. That'll be a 12-7 for Kirk Malm. I believe ASU's highest pommel score of the evening.
And now Troy Mendelson on the rings.
Nice Maltese. To an Azarian cross. Couple of
Very strong.
impressive strength maneuvers there at the beginning. Uprise to straddle planche. Yeah, his strength positions are showing very, very nice. Oops. Looks like he,
Oh, and so he probably didn't get credit for a back upright straddle L.
I don't believe so.
Which means now the planche, the L, the press, he might not receive credit for because you can only do 3 strength moves in a row before you have to break it up with a swing element. Or did he Yamawaki before that?
He did not.
So that's going to hurt him in the long run. 11-5-5 final score for Troy. We look to see that be much higher the rest of the season. And we got Perry Lightfoot on vault.
A nice, clean Kazumatsu.
Yeah, the difficulty is not as high, but his execution was very good. 13-2-5 final score for Perry. Kyle Burris on pommel horse. Kyle was at this meet last year, I believe, as a freshman, and really struggled with his routine. He has a lot of difficulty, and I'm looking to see if maybe this year he is ready to hit his routine.
So it's off the E flop there.
A little off balance, but then settles down, does the D Russian. Much different than he looked last year. Much more composed. He's got a lot more experience under his belt.
He's fighting on the Russians a little bit here.
Little
Kind of
bit.
lost the rhythm that he's had pretty nice in the rest of that routine.
Very good routine. 12-9 final score. That's a big number on pommel horse.
Yeah, anything that's pushing the 13s is pretty good right now.
On to the last vault of the day for UW.
This is Lucas Asari.
Another cause. With a 13-1 final score. Not done quite as well as Perry's. And that will wrap up the fourth rotation. Send us into the fifth. All right, we're back for rotation number 5. After 4 events, UW is still in the lead with 257.3. Arizona State dropped a little bit to 249.95. Southern California with a 219.35. And NorCal United with a 166.1. That's the standing after 4 events. And now, on to the 5th event. First up is Anthony Mills on the rings for Arizona State. Little shaky on that first skill, the backup rise to straddle planche. Pretty well done iron cross.
Very nice piked Yamawaki, tucked Yamawaki sequence. Probably one of the cleaner ones we've seen so far.
Yeah, those are really difficult to swing very cleanly on, and he showed a good example of it.
That's not something. Huh. I think he
Going for it looked like a front giant, and his hands slipped through both rings.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, I think the Olympics one year, either '96 or 2000, a guy lowered the cross and his hand slipped through the rings. But
I mean, I've never seen both at once.
yeah, wow,
I'm glad he got out of that okay.
yeah, that could have been a disaster. Well, I'll have 30 seconds to get back up on the rings. Not something that's typical to have someone fall all the way off. And then he'll finish. ASU just been struggling a lot with this entire meet, it looks like. Pommel horse and floor were pretty strong. High bar was pretty strong, but P-bars and then rings starting off with very uncharacteristic mistakes.
All right, and he's going to attempt again the front giant. Gets it up there. Had to fight it up a little bit, but all right, and a full twisting double back dismount.
Not the way they saw this one starting off. Now we're on to the vault with Southern California. This is Jake Mitchell.
Okay, and that's just a very simple souk laid out. Took a pretty big hop there on the landing, but other than that, Not a whole lot to deduct on. It's 12-4 for Jake Mitchell.
And the score for Anthony was an 11.1. Now we're on to pommel horse for Neil Mora Ramirez of NorCal United.
He was doing a really good job of showing off that scissor work there at the beginning. Good amplitude on it.
Circle's open, but looks just a little out of control.
Yeah, a little loose through the legs, maybe.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's going to bite him there.
Fights to stay on in the Savato. That was impressive. Again, not full difficulty on the dismount, but he stayed on the horse, which is always something you're looking for. Final score on that, a 9.7.
All right, now up for Washington, we've got Jacob Jarrett up on the P-bars. Jacob's really quick twitch guy. He usually throws a couple of big skills in this P-bar routine. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Nice Bob's arm out there. One of the staple skills in this routine. Tapel, big balance check there on the handstand though.
Pretty solid routine, just little checks here and there,
Yep.
little hand movements. All of those things are going to add up.
And a
Big
pretty-
step on
yep.
the landing.
So that is going to be an 11.85 for Jacob Jarrett. It's definitely a routine, an event he can score pretty high on as long as he stays clean.
Yeah, it was just a little shaky, a little unsure is what it looked like. Probably will iron out as the season goes on. Now we've got Esteban Montiel on the rings. Little high on that kip cross. Probably be a 3/10 deduction or more. If it's more, they would take the credit for the skill. That's what we're talking about with those Yamawakis. That was an example of struggling to swing through them.
Does a good job keeping it moving though. Okay, front giant. A little bit of arm bend there on the way up. Really hard to do with completely locked arms. You don't see a whole lot of people. Haven't seen a whole lot of people today do it really correctly.
Big D dismount and the stick. That's good for a 12.25 for Esteban Montiel. Getting Arizona State back on track. Over at vault, we have Dante Gallardo of Southern California United.
Alright, Kazumatsu vault. Chest pretty low on the landing. Did he step out of bounds there?
Yeah, he did. So he got a 10th neutral deduction. Not one of the better executions that we've seen on that vault. Final score of a 12.55. Something he can improve throughout the season. Now we're on to pommel horse with Brian Berryhill. Brian did not compete pommel horse last year, so this is his college debut on this event.
Okay.
Struggles on that dismount. Probably not going to receive credit for it.
And he's going to be actually quite a few skills short of the routine. Looks like we got 5/10 in neutral deductions there.
That's 5 points. In
I'm
neutral
sorry, 5
deduction,
points,
yeah.
excuse me.
So final score of a 3.6 for Brian Berryhill. Now we're on P-bars with Alex May. Alex May is a really solid gymnast. Coach speaks very highly of him. Double pike dismount. Pretty good. Short, more on the low end difficulty wise,
Yeah,
but clean routine for a 12.35.
Alright, it looks like now we've got Flint Bornstein on ASU on the rings. Nice, solid straddle plunge there.
Oh, and then the straight plunge.
Nice. A lot of impressive plunge work there. He's doing a good job keeping those rings pretty turned out. Support's really strong. A little bit of an arm bend there on that back giant.
Yeah, and had to fight for position. Looks like he shot it over a little bit. But good correction. Almost stuck the landing. That is got one of the higher execution marks of the day with a 9.35. Good for a 12.95 final score. On vault now, Will Pierce, Southern California United.
All right. Went for that extra half twist. Looks like he sat it down, so he's going to take a fall on that. Did get his feet down, though, so he's going to get full credit for the vault. So that is a 12.7 for Will Pierce.
Now we're on to another Will Ryan of NorCal United on pommel horse. Nice big scissor work. A little off on the circle work here, but he's managing to stay on, although he'll lose a lot for the form of the legs. Pretty clean on the Savata.
Alright, dismount. Gonna struggle a little bit trying to get the hips up. Alright, and that was a 10-2 for Will Ryan. Actually, not a bad routine. Got a little rough there at the end, but
it looks like didn't receive credit for the dismount, so he's going to do one more attempt at it. There it is. And there he'll get credit for a C dismount, so he'll get some extra element groups and difficulty back. And like you said, good for enough for a 10.2. Back over to parallel bars for Perry Lightfoot's routine.
okay, nice Diamondov. Stutz combo, pretty common. So this is one of the events for UW where pretty much execution takes all. We're not a team that historically gets a lot of difficulty on P-bars, so the guys with the best execution are usually the ones you're going to see in lineup, and Perry's definitely one of those guys. Got a good line. Yeah,
Well done dismount. He's excited about it.
I'm excited about it.
That was a good routine. 12-9 final score. 9-1 execution. Very good for Perry. Back over to rings with Christian Jennings of Arizona State. They're trying to stage a comeback here, but man, UW looks solid on the P-bars. I like how he opens the hands, shows that he's not doing the false grip on that cross. Almost kind of did it on the second one. Pretty good done. Strength moves. Little struggle on that Yamawaki. And just he gets to polish things up, turn the rings a little better in the handstand and whatnot.
Okay, so he's used the cables for support there with his legs.
So that'll be a large error. And then sticks the
All
dismount.
right. Does end up with a pretty darn good dismount, though.
Yeah, so 12.0 final score, but that was almost 2 points of deduction in that routine.
Now it looks like we've got Zach Garcia up for SCU on vault. Alright, so that was an attempt at a tucked Kazumatsu, which you don't see too often. 10.8 is the final score.
Over to pommel horse for Brandon Garcia's routine.
He missed his hand on the pommel there.
So he'll remount and finish his routine from there. Another fall on a travel element again. It looks like fatigue might be a bit of a factor on this routine.
Yep, that's one of those things where once it starts, it's pretty much all downhill from there, unfortunately. I think pommels, more than any other event, is really punishing as soon as you start to get tired.
Yeah, as soon as you get off, it can just beat you up.
All right.
Goes on up to the handstand, makes the dismount. All right, not his best routine, but good for a 6.5 to help the team score.
All right, and now we've got Ben Bloom up for UW on P-bars. Nice whip it mount.
Yeah, it's hard to do those upper arm skills very well, and he showed a very, very good whip.
Here comes the Diam. Okay. I was expecting a stutz after that. You see it so often.
Right.
Right. Back up rise handstand. Locks to a really nice handstand, but just kind of floated right up there. And sits down the landing. So
Up until that dismount, not much to take off.
yeah, it looks like not a lot of landing prep. He landed pretty much locked-legged. Just
Yeah.
didn't give himself any real chance to absorb that landing. This is a shame because other than that, man. So he had the potential to be up there in the 13s on that.
12-1 final score for that routine.
Surprise appearance from Mark Russo there, former head coach for UW. There in the yellow.
Now we're on to rings with Dalton Hopkins.
All right, kip up to Maltese there. Okay, Yamawaki combo there, one we've seen a couple times today. Looking pretty solid so far. A little bit of a fight up there to get up in the handstand.
Same on the front giant, just a little polish needed.
Okay, and a double back dismount. So really impressive strength maneuvers up in there. Just has to work on getting that dismount upgraded and cleaning up those giant swings. But that is good for a 13.5, even with a not a full credit dismount. The execution actually was pretty good.
Now we're on to vault. Should see one of the biggest vaults of the day from Troy. Double front.
All right.
Decent landing. It's a hard vault to stand up really tall,
Absolutely.
but he did a pretty good job with it. Got a 13.75 final score.
I believe that's the biggest score we've seen on vault so far, yeah?
So far,
Okay.
I believe it is. Now Connor Pattison on the parallel bars.
Nice.
A really good swing out of that Healy. It looked like one fluid motion. It's exactly how it's supposed to be done. Stutz just got to keep his feet together.
And a little bit of leg separation, or a little bit of leg bend on that straddle cut. Doing a good job of marking his handstands, though, and a good, clean dismount.
Yeah, I like the way he swung on that routine. He's excited about it. That was going to be a big score. Looks like a 13.0 for Connor Pattison and UW. On to the final gymnast on rings, Chris Barty of Arizona State. We should see the highest difficulty on rings from this routine. Again, mounts like his teammate with the kip to Maltese. He'll receive a D for that element. Pike to tuck Yamawaki, and nicely well done back upright cross.
Yeah, it's important on those not to go any higher than you need to. You can get a pretty large deduction if you do so.
Really close to locked arms, probably only a tenth. And that's a nice handstand position. A little struggle on that front
That's his
giant.
first real bobble of the routine. Ooh, double dismount. All right.
That is a 4.9, almost 5 points of difficulty. Definitely the highest from the team. And a 13.25 final score for Chris Barty. Final competitor on vault.
All right, and that was another tucked Kazumatsu. Hands down on the landing, unfortunately, just like his teammate.
That was from Dimitri Gordillo of Southern California United.
Yeah, it looks like he actually hurt his ankle there on the landing. His coach kind of helping him off the floor there.
Yeah, and he scored an 11.6 with that. And hopefully he'll be okay. He should be in the lineup on the next event.
Now we've got Daniel Gordon up there on the P-bars for UW. So like I said before, P-bars, it's an execution game, and Daniel's pretty much the top guy on our team as far as that's concerned. He's just such a, I mean, like I said before, he's almost robotic in his movements. He does such a good job of showing off his line.
Nice and clean. 12.25 was the final score for that routine. And that wraps up our 5th rotation. We will be back with rotation number 6 after this. Alright, we're back for the 6th and final rotation. After 5, Northern California United is in 4th place with a 196.1. Southern California United is at a 281.55. Arizona State is in 2nd place, 313.9. And 6.15 ahead of them is UW with a 320.05.
Now, as elated as I am to see my old team in the lead here, with actually a pretty substantial lead, they're going to have to put up some pretty strong high bar sets here. ASU is a formidable team on vault.
Yeah,
so we can expect to see some pretty big scores coming from them.
Yeah, UW has no room for error if they're going to hang on to that lead. That is not a comfortable cushion with Arizona State on the vault. So let's get started.
And it looks like up first we've got Christian Jennings from ASU.
There's a layout full. Probably the lowest difficulty vault we're going to see all day from Arizona State. But well executed. 13.15 final score. Not a bad start for them. Jumping over to rings, we've got NorCal United freshman Brandon Garcia finishing up the all-around.
All right, back up rise cross, and not even close to a hold on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably not going to receive credit for that element. Gets the swing to strength category with the back upright straddle planche. Looks a little tired.
All right, and falls out of the handstand, out of the back giant element there.
So he'll take 30 seconds to compose himself, get back up on the rings, and finish his routine.
Alright, a full twisting double back dismount, very short on the landing.
I'm excited to see the rest of the season with this young gymnast. He has a lot of potential and made some mistakes in the last couple events that I think he can smooth out as season goes, and he could be a contender in the all-around. On to P-bars with Zach Garcia, Southern California United.
Okay, attempts a peach to handstand mount. Takes a little low on the handstand, had to muscle it up. More to support after that. Again, the Diom Stutz combination. Definitely pretty short on the handstand on that Stutz. Now fighting up to the handstand on the back uprise.
Yeah, very different than how we saw Ben Bloom perform that element.
Very solid dismount though. It's a well composed routine. It's got a lot of polishing to do, but I think later on in the season that's going to be a really nice one to watch.
10.05 for Zach. First competitor on high bar, he led things off on P-bars, Jacob Jarrett. What are we going to see in this routine?
Alright, we're going to see a cup. So I believe the only release move we're going to see is a Tkachev. You'll see he's got quite the exaggerated tap, so you'll know when it's coming. And actually a pretty unique dismount as well. He actually dismounts forwards over the bar. Here goes the, yep, like I said, Tkachev right there. Puts it on the bar very nicely. Here comes the Quast. Alright. And he's in a jam through to L grip here. Flexible guy.
L grip giant, pick up another B.
Let's get a little bit more in bar, build that difficulty a little bit before the dismount. And there it goes.
Nice, unique dismount.
Double pie calf out.
Pretty good routine. Jacob Jarrett scores an 11.85, getting things started for UW.
You know, I tried that dismount once. Ended up back on the bar. Alright, and on to vault we've got Dalton Hopkins. Cause full. Clean cause full.
13.15 for Dalton Hopkins.
Now onto rings, we've got Will Ryan from NCU. Alright, off to a pretty solid start here.
Yeah, rings is not one of his strong events, but he can be clean and put up a good routine.
Now, he did go pretty short on his uprise, or on his press to straddle planche there, so I'm not sure if he is going to get credit for that. Decent dismount now to round off the routine. That is a 12-3 for Will Ryan. Now we've got Jake Mitchell up on the parallel bars for SCU.
And a quick correction of score, that last vault was actually a 13.7, not a 13.15.
And sits down the dismount. Quickly had to open up just a hair earlier on that.
Not too bad of a routine prior to the dismount. 11.0 final score for Jake Mitchell.
Alright, and now we've got Perry Lightfoot up for UW on high bar. I believe he does a Tkachev as well. Nice.
Yeah, pretty good work on that Tkachev. Caught fairly extended. The giant out was decently clean.
And a nice clean double A dismount. Small step, looks like maybe a little pikey in the air, but
Pretty solid routine.
you know, one thing I will say has improved a lot is the releases, just the placement and the look in the air. I think the release category was historically kind of a weak spot for us back when I was on the team. That's something that looks a lot better now, based on what I've seen so far.
And that's good for a 12.15 for Perry Lightfoot. Back over to vault. This is Vinny Colasomo. Looks like both feet went over the line on that, so there'll be a 3/10 neutral and fairly heavy execution. So starting out of a 4.8, he ends up with a 13.1. Here is Harant Gasparian, a freshman for NorCal United. No credit on that cross again, just like previous gymnast. No, not Will, like Brandon.
Yeah, he's definitely got to fight to get the rings turned out more on that handstand. Okay, back giant, actually fairly steady on the finish.
Yeah, he can swing. Pretty solid dismount. So a little more strength and endurance, and that could be a very strong routine. 11.65 for the day.
And now up on the parallel bars, we've got Dante Gallardo from SCU. Okay, peach to support element there. Okay, a little bobbly on the press. All right, a little short on the dismount. Overall, though, not a bad routine. He's definitely trying to maximize his execution. Aside from the one bobble there on the press, he didn't give away a whole lot.
11.8 final score for Dante, and that last routine on rings was the final for NorCal United. Their total team score is a 229.8.
All right, now we've got Alex May up here on the high bar. Let's see what he's got in store. Yamawaki mount. A little bit of elbows coming out of that first giant. Ah, Kovacs. All right.
On
All right, that was a hard landing. Looks like he
That
had
was.
it to begin with. And,
looks like we're gonna cut away while he recovers and watch a vault real fast. So the Esteban Montiel on the vault.
wow. Oh, darn near stuck that.
13.95 is the score for Esteban. Okay, looks like Alex is going to be all right. That was a big hit.
That was a
he
hard
took.
landing. I am impressed to see him up and moving right now.
So he's got 30 seconds to finish.
So Alex is one of two gymnasts that I believe will be competing in the Kovac today, Ben Bloom being the other. And takes the Weiler kip short.
Changes direction, he'll get a 5/10 deduction.
And changes
another
direction again.
5/10 deduction. But just good to see him able to finish his routine. Winds up for the dismount. Double. With a stick.
Beautiful dismount.
That was a very strong finish after that hard crash that he took. 11.2 final score for Alex May. P-bars, Dimitri Gordillo, who we saw take a short landing on vault. Looked like his ankle was bothering him, and it seems to be okay, well enough to compete parallel bars. A little unsteady in the handstand. There's the stutz. Fairly basic routine. Was a good looking handstand. Double tuck dismount. Good strong finish for Dimitri. 11.6 final score, and that is his first meet in college.
All right, now from ASU, we've got Nick Garcia on the vault. This is going to be a nice one, I think. All right.
Double full. Pretty good vault for him. 14-2. That's a big score on the vault from Nick Garcia. It's good to see him back. He had to take last year off due to injury.
A shoulder injury, I believe.
Let's go, Cap!
Now we've got Ben Bloom getting ready to go on high bar, and the pressure is turned on for Ben. After Alex had that fall, they've really got to fight to get good scores from here on out to hold on to that lead.
All right, Ben is going to mount the same way Alex did with the Yamawaki. Very nice extended catch. There he goes, winding up for the Kovacs. All right, and I could kind of see that off the bar. He drug his legs over pretty hard. Yeah.
So he'll have 30 seconds to get back up and finish.
All right, half talk. That's cleaned up quite a bit. Went a little shy of handstand, but the form, the execution of them, that was pretty good. A massive laid out
Huge.
Tkachev, straddle Tkachev combination. I don't
Very
think I've seen him
nice.
do that in a routine before. Very powerful swinger. Yeah. Wow.
Sticks to landing. Ben Bloom on high bar. 12.6.
Even
final
with that
score.
fall. Yeah, that was the routine I was looking forward to seeing all day. It's a shame he missed the Kovacs, but even with that, and he is an impressive guy to watch.
So with now 2 falls, where UW is going to be counting a fall on high bar. They have opened the door, especially with that last vault we saw from Arizona State, scoring a 14.2. Sure, the gap is closing. Here we are on parallel bars with Will Pierce finishing up his all around. Puts his hand down early on the Diam. Gonna lose credit for the element. Sticks to 1 bar. Nice back toss. I
Yeah.
like that skill.
He works his support skills pretty well. Nice high double back. Ooh, better start upgrading that pretty soon.
12-2 final score. Not a bad finish to his all around. Final competitor on vault for Arizona State. Anthony Mills. He's capable of a very big score. We'll see if he can pull it out. The meat rests on his shoulders here. Chenko Another double full, very, very small landing error.
That is a 14-2 for Anthony Mills.
Second 14-2 in a row from Arizona State. That is the finish that they were looking for. I think on vault they did what they could. And now Alex Forkas will be the final. Oh no, we've got Daniel Gordon on high bar. And so we've got two more competitors on high bar for UW to see if they can hold on to their lead.
All right, so Daniel's going to do a release that we have not seen yet, a Ginger. There he goes. He worked really hard for a lot of years working on getting that thing consistent. And it's really good to see him do that. Really, he didn't look like he was sweating it at all.
Yeah, very well done.
All right, so a nice short routine. Actually, upgraded dismount, I believe, as well. I've never seen him put that onto hard ground. So that's good, solid routine for Daniel Gordon.
Pretty good execution marks. Gets a 12.3 final score.
Now, I'm happy to see him making it into more lineups. I mean, he's been in doing these fairly, you know, like I said, just pretty basic routines, and the difficulty is starting to evolve finally. It's really fun to watch.
Here's Troy Mendelson at the end of his all-around as a freshman with Southern California United. Not his strongest performance today, but got a lot of room to make some improvements and be a strong competitor the rest of the year. Little balance checks, but swung nicely up to handstand on that stitz.
All right. Not a bad finish for Troy Mendelson.
11.85 final score. We are on to the final competitor on high bar. He needs a 13.3 to tie and a 13.35 or higher to win. It's a pretty tall order on high bar.
Yeah. Okay, fall catch dismount. Pretty basic, but also very clean. Really making sure to mark his handstands there. Maybe went past a little through it on that, on the half turn. Double pike dismount.
And sticks it. That was a pretty clean routine. 12.25, not going to be enough to take the victory away from Arizona State. And that vault team just came lights
tremendous.
out and hit some big numbers. With the way the meet started, I did not expect Arizona to be able to come back from that deficit. But a little shaky on, I think, all the teams' parts, as a first season opener usually
Definitely.
is. But very, very exciting. Good way to see these teams starting off. Looks like UW and ASU have a solid matchup that we can look forward to the rest of the season and heading into nationals. Be interesting to see which of them emerges on top. All right, well, thanks for watching. That's all from us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the meet, and we'll follow the season on Road to Nationals or on the team websites.